to support today's event, to thank my friend Councillor Steve Simpkins and everybody who's been responsible for organising this. Time passes, but it's important to remember, and when it gets too long for remembering, to learn and pass on in any way that we can. I believe that the first day of the Somme may have marked the greatest history of losses in the history of the British Army. And as Steve has outlined, the reason that was the case is because really this was the first industrial war, with all the modern manufacturing for which this area made its name applied to this activity of war. And no previous war had been fought like that, and it made the death toll and the scale of it so much greater than anything that had gone before. And of course this area had huge involvement in all sides of that. Again, as Steve had said, from the production of munitions to the soldiers to the healthcare and so on. So I think this is a really important event to remember, to teach the children of today, and the history of Europe, sadly, in the last century was this happening not once but twice within a generation. Just one other thing to remember. Today, the 1st of July, is Canada Day. I mean, a lot of people don't know that. The reason I know that is because my wife is Canadian, and she doesn't let me forget it. And this was a war of allies, and of course Canada was one of our principal allies at the time. If you go into the Canadian Parliament, the war memorials take pride of place, because for the Canadians, this was, in a sense, the key event that marked their nationhood really coming of age, and in a way like that. And it was a war of allies around the world. You know, just a couple of years ago, we had a lot of commemoration of soldiers from India who fought with us in the war, in the trenches as well. And that is just a reminder of the global scale of this. So we remember it locally and globally too. And just as I end, a reminder to you of the collection buckets over here. Every year, Steve and I and many of you gather at our local cenotaph for Remembrance Sunday. And Bilston marks this very, very well. It's always very well attended. But the cenotaph that we have here is in need of a little bit of tender love and care. So we're trying to collect a few pounds for it today, if people can remember that on the way out. Thanks very much.
Thank you.